Morning, everyone. Start in just a second. Okay, so tomorrow morning, your CEO is going to tomorrow morning your CEO is going to forward you an article about AI search and ask one question: why your competitor is being recommended by ChatGPT and your organization is not. And you have two options. One is basically you can say, "Well, we're looking into it," and two is the 90-day answer that I'm going to give you in the next 40 minutes. So let's make sure you walk into that meeting with option two. Cool. So the big stat is that 900 million people use ChatGPT every week, and that's OpenAI's own number from February this year. Shopify just opened agentic storefronts to millions of merchants. Your products can now surface inside ChatGPT, Gemini, and Copilot without a single line of code if you're on Shopify. And ASOS and Zara are embedding things like AI virtual try on at checkout, and Google's killed its standalone doppel app on 30th of April, moved to virtual try on in product search results as well. So all this essentially, all this new tech and new approaches to selling coming in. Meanwhile, the old channel is shrinking. So we're seeing reports of Google organic traffic dropping whilst LLM visits and LLM referrals are increasing. We're definitely seeing a different change in traffic on our website and our customers' websites, and we've experienced that impact with like incredibly long dwell times from people who've been referred by the LLMs. Now, AI overviews are appearing on approximately 48% of searches, driving a 61% click-through rate decline on organic results. So a whopping 59% of websites saw traffic decline in 2025. So there's a big impact happening here across the board. And what most people miss is that essentially the brands that AI is recommending are not the biggest; they're the most citable. So 86% of citations are coming from brand managed sources, 44% from websites, and 42% from listings. Pages with stacked schema are earning 3.1 times higher AI citation rates than pages with no or a single schema. So if they've actually taken the time to embed the schemas and the LLMs can read, they're getting 3 times as much citations. And 36% of URLs cited in AI overviews rank outside Google's top 100. So, and that's coming from Ahrefs. So the game has changed. Traditional SEO ranking and AI recommendation are two different disciplines. And today I'm going to show you exactly how the second one works and what you can do about it this quarter. So today we're breaking down why AI platforms recommend some products and ignore others, and the mechanics behind the machine, and the 5 signals that determine whether ChatGPT, Perplexity, or Gemini will cite your brand, and a practical framework that you can use to get your products recommended within 90 days. Cool. So if you find this useful, we write up similar breakdowns every week in our AI commerce briefing, which is 1 email per week, our newsletter. So it's all about the AI commerce shifts in UK that UK DTC brands need to act on, with all the stats to back it up as well. So I'm going to drop that into the chat, which is right there. Cool. Right. So the scale of the shift. So moving on. So this is essentially AI market share between the various platforms right now. So there is a significant amount held by the top two there. ChatGPT holds 60.2% of all AI search traffic. Gemini has 15.3%, Copilot 12.8, and so on. And yeah, the retail AI referred traffic grew 693% year on year during the 2025 holiday season. That's a stat from Adobe's Digital Insights report, which is a huge report that I've covered a few times. But it is it's a key stat essentially, just showing the size of the shift here. And AI-driven traffic to Shopify stores in particular has increased 7 times by since January 2025. So AI attributed orders have increased 11 times overall. So yeah, essentially you've got 700% growth, and yeah, if your traffic was doing that, you'd probably be on stage at Brighton celebrating or something. So um anyway, moving on. So AI search versus traditional. So this is the gap essentially that we're seeing, is summed up. So AI search converts at 14.2% versus Google Organics conversion rate of 2.8%. That's a more than 5 times difference. And AI referred visitors are spending 45% longer on site and bounce 31% less. I know we had one person yesterday. I was really surprised that they spent half an hour browsing pages on our website. And yeah, and yeah, just obviously enjoying the content. But yeah, yeah, it's what's happening is you've got a significantly more engaged user is coming from those LLMs. So yeah, revenue per visit from those AI sources is surging, and yeah, year on year it's 254% higher. And when AI visitors engage on site with an AI assistant, that conversion hits 9.84%, 4 times the 2.47% baseline that you get as well. So yeah, there is it's essentially a reversal story here. 12 months ago, non-AI traffic was 51% more than AI traffic, and that's completely flipped. And AI referrals now convert 31% higher than non-AI sources. And that's again from the Adobe report. So, so yeah, so just to give you an example, this is one of our articles that's getting a lot of traction, and it's basically we did a lot of research on Amazon's recommendation system, and we went into quite some detail. It's quite a thorough article that yeah kind of covers all of the what they did, what works, and how you can approach it. And yeah, we've got like thorough information in here. We've got a lot of stats. We've got frequently asked questions. We've got a lot of references to all the data that we referenced in the article. And yeah, you can see the author profile there for myself. So we spent quite a bit of time on this, pulling together the various information from a variety of sources. And this is one of the biggest articles on our website. Gets a lot of traffic, and like even last week, our Perplexity traffic doubled. Just looking at this, so this is growing massively um, off the back of this and similar articles. All citing this article in chat. So one of the things we've done is we've started down that journey of optimizing our website for the LLMs. There's definitely more we can do, but we've done a fair bit already, and we're now cited by 5 AI platforms: ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, Claude, and Copilot. We're all seeing the analytics from those, seeing them appear in our analytics data, and we can see kind of how often they're visiting and that sort of thing. So we're getting a significant amount of traffic that is the LLM platforms itself, and we're also getting the referrals from those platforms. So it's the users who are they're doing their search on those platforms, ChatGPT and such, and getting the information. Then they're clicking through on the cited links to our website to read more. So it proves that this method works essentially, and we're getting like a lot of traffic coming through on this. It's like 14% of our traffic now is coming through from AI. Well, from the AI platform, so it's referred visitors. And yeah, it's more than just that like Gemini is now recognizing us as an entity. We're getting homepage traffic, so it's not just the article citations. And yeah, it was actually, yeah, I've got the stats. So one user browsed 29 pages in 35 minutes, so they were having a good look around. And yeah, AI referral is 14.4% of Google's of Fernie's total site traffic. So we've had like 36 sessions this week alone so far that like have come directly from those AI systems. The Amazon recommendation query cluster is exploding in Google Search Console. We've got like 220 impressions at positions 1 to 5 this week, and it's growing massively on the back of that. And we're only a 10-person agency. We're not particularly large. If we can get cited by 5 AI platforms, any D2C brand with a product catalog can definitely do this. So think about this. So when was the last time you asked ChatGPT or Perplexity to recommend a product? And now think about whether your own products like would show up if somebody asked the same question about your category. And yeah, have a try, put the queries in yourself and see what comes up. Is definitely a good way to start. So that's generally the difference of kind of what's happening. And here we have the Google organic click-through rate decline stats. So 25% of Google searches now trigger AI overviews, up from 13% in March 2025. And whenever AI overviews appear, top ranking pages are losing 58% of their click-through rate. 93% of those AI search sessions are ending without a single website click, so they're just getting their information in the AI overview and stopping there. And Gartner has predicted that there will be a 25% drop in traditional search volume by 2026, and I think we're definitely living through that now. So the brands that wait for this to settle down are the ones that are going to lose the most ground. This is not a disruption that's going to reverse. It's going to accelerate from here. Definitely as we get more adoption. So AI is recommending products to 900 million people weekly, or just on ChatGPT alone, and most D2C brands have no strategy for getting cited. So links to everything I'm going to be sharing are in the chat. The AI commerce briefing is there if you want this kind of breakdown to land in your inbox every week, and I'll drop the link again for anyone who missed it. And so now I'm going to run a little bit deeper into what actually determines whether ChatGPT will pick your products or your competitors. Cool. So pages with a stacked schema. So this is where you have multiple schema types layered together. They're earning 3.1 times the AI citation rates with them pages with a single or no schema. So if you've got a product page and all you've got is a product schema on there, your competitors with 3 schemas that cover, or 4 schemas that are covering like the offers, the reviews, the FAQs, they're going to be earning significantly more of those citations. So that's a big difference there. The impact there. So if you've got, for example, pages with visible star ratings, that's 74% difference. You've got shops with a complete schema markup are seeing 58% more clicks than those without, and 31% higher conversion rates as well. So that's coming from SEMrush and Shopify. Those stats. Pages with an FAQ schema are earning 67% AI citation rate, and 57.5% of e-commerce websites have some schema markup, but it is 15 to 30% is probably invalid, according to this report. So essentially what you've got here is there's a big difference between those who are taking the technical standpoint and making sure that that technical piece is now brought into 2026. We knew we need schemas for previously, but now this layered schema is definitely an important aspect to this. We can see there's a significant difference here. So one of the things you can do if you want to check this yourself, you can go to Google's rich results test, which I'll drop in the chat. And you can insert your URL. So, for example, I've just picked this random page on Selfridges, and we can see that if we put them through the system, that they have a series of rich schemas already set up in their website. So they've done really well. So you can kind of go in, you can see kind of what they've got, what's appearing in the on the pages there. We can see we've got all their kind of product snippets and such as well. And essentially you can easily go in and see here kind of what's being listed. And I'll go into this in a bit more detail later in the session. But another example for Uniqlo, for example, so another similar fashion brand, we have put them through the same stat here, and we can see that they've got their stats set up as well. And we've done a number of these, and there is still a good portion who I'm not going to name drop anybody, but they have not set up their schemas properly. And yeah, you can definitely see like Uniqlo here is getting all the schemas in place, which is looking really good. So yeah, it's good to see. Cool. So how LLMs read your pages. So essentially pages with an organized heading hierarchy are 2.8 times more likely to earn AI citations. Now, this was important for SEO anyway, but it is now even more important to be more structured and even more structured than we used to be when it comes to LLMs. The main reason being is that, or the main reason for that is that LLMs will cite concise paragraphs of approximately like 120 to 180 words when they give their responses in the LLM chats. So if you've got a heading that pretty much matches what the user has queried, and you've got a nice concise answer with a few other things that we'll go through as well, then you're more likely to get cited in that response. So there's a few things you need to think about. So organized heading hierarchy, citations, longer articles do well. So if they've got over 2,900 words, you'll get 59% more citations. If you've got 30, if you've got content with its own citations inside it and statistics and quotes from external sources, you'll get 30 to 40% high visibility. That's probably why our Amazon article has done so well, because we've got a lot of stats in there. So I think we're really winning on that front. You've got 41 to 15% citation rate for pages with an FAQ schema versus those without. Again, we've got that FAQ schema. It was a more recent addition, but we've added that now, so we'll be cementing our position in the rankings. And 28% to 40% more likely if you've got structured or formatted content ready to be cited. So a few stats there that have been identified from external sources like HubSpot and such, Princeton Geo Research. So it's showing that basically just well formatted pages are going to perform better, and it's more important now than it ever has been before. It does raise the question though of are we building for the AIs or are we building for the users? I think there's a middle ground there where you're building a great experience for the AIs, but then also giving like a decent experience for the users as well. So it's playing that balance and not going too over the top, but equally a lot of this is just basic stuff that you can get in place whilst serving both crowds. Now the next thing is content freshness. So we've known for a while, like with SEO and such, that recent content was more important. What's happening now is that recency is getting even shorter. So if your content is really fresh, so 0 to 3 months, you are twice as likely to be cited than if you've got kind of the older content as well. It descends as you go across until you get to kind of 6 months plus, where you're 3 times more likely to lose citations. content updated within the last 5 weeks is going to outperform unrefreshed content by 35% in AI visibility on average. So if you look at this stat alone and just basically say, right, well, we need to make sure that our content is updated every sort of 5 weeks or so, then yeah, you're going to, or every 3 to 6 months, and you're going to make sure that your content is cited more often. So yeah, this is why we update our AI product recommendations article frequently. The freshness is not just a nice to have; it's now a citation requirement. If your last product guide update was 6 months ago, then the AI engines are already preferring your competitor's newer version. Then we've got the traditional signals. So this is the EAT, or EAT, however you want to say it, authority signals. So these are kind of like who wrote this, why the AI should trust them. So it is 96% of AI overview citations are coming from sources with strong EAT signals. So content with authoritative citations have 89% higher selection probability for AI citation. And yeah, sites with 32,000 plus referring domains are 3.5 times more likely to be cited by ChatGPT. A lot of that coming from like the best of and listings and such. So 85% of brand mentions as well, originating from third-party pages. And content with first person expertise and quotations is going to earn 28% more AI visibility overall. So you can't really shortcut that authority, but you can accelerate it. Now, what there is to think about here is a number of ways that these can be affected. One is looking at the so that the authoritativeness, for instance, so getting PR mentions, getting referral links, getting that kind of that trust built from external sites. You get a lot of that from those third-party pages referring you, but it's also within your content itself, how your content is written, the kind of the prose, the way it's worded, and the stats and things that you've got on page backing it up. So we didn't have a lot of people linking to our Amazon 35% article, for instance, but we had a lot of external references to high EAT signal pages that had those statistics on them, and we were using those statistics to feed our article. So the LLM comes in, it looks at our article, it looks at all the sources that referred that article, and it goes, right, well, actually, this is quite trustworthy content, so I should use this in my responses. Now, there's even things like most D2C pages list their author as like team, and that's the equivalent of signing a business proposal with someone at the company, and AI is going to notice that when it comes along. So make sure you've got your named authors on page and such, and you're building that authority. So make sure you got your author schema, use those expert bylines, cite the primary sources, and yeah, build reviews on platforms that AI trusts in order to get that trust built with the LLMs. Cool. So each AI platform is picking their sources differently. CX analyzed 17.2 million AI citations across platforms to kind of see how they behave differently. ChatGPT was getting its data from reviews and directories. You've got Gemini, which is basically fueled by Google search, we can assume. So that is taking all the data from websites themselves, so your own website. And Perplexity is favored a lot of kind of fresher content. So 50% of citations were for content that were updated 2025 plus. And Claude, which has a smallest market share, is growing significantly, and its priority is authoritative sources, so strong EAT signals. Copilot has a 12% market share, and its priority is obviously Bing results and LinkedIn. So they're getting their data from different places, and when you look at it like this, you begin to think about the kind of things that you need to optimize in order to rank a little better on your website. So if you're only optimizing for ChatGPT, you're missing 40% of this AI search market by numbers and 80% by platforms. So you need a presence across your own website for Gemini, third-party review sites like those that ChatGPT are going to ingest, and authoritative directories for Perplexity. We saw this ourselves at Fernie. So our ChatGPT traffic has plateaued, but Gemini, Perplexity, and now Claude AI are growing. So we've got diversification across the platforms, which is our play, and means we're not dependent on any one, which could shift at any moment. So in all, I think this is probably a good thing for the industry if we can get a bit more balance here. So your challenge here is really just open a new tab, go to chatgpt.com and ask it to recommend a product in your category and screenshot what comes back. That's kind of your baseline or who you want to target as kind of your competitor that you want to do better than. So by the end of this meeting, you'll know kind of exactly what the bar is and what you're going to need to change. So which we'll get into in a moment. So the citation signals. So the AI recommendation is not one problem, it's 5. So you've got structured data that we've talked about, content architecture, content freshness, the EAT authority, and platform diversity. And you kind of see how the numbers marry up there. So you can start with structured data. So fix one, you improve, and you move on to the next. So structured data, content architecture, freshness, EAT, and platform diversity. Fix all 5, and you're going to dominate your category in AI search. So most brands are probably failing at least 3 of those 5 signals right now. It hasn't, whilst some of that has been needed, this level hasn't been needed in SEO for at all until this point. There's been a lesser level, like in structured data, you didn't need as much schema data in order to be cited. So what is the plan? So this is where I'm going to move from the kind of the signals into the actual how you achieve this. So there are 3 phases to this: foundation, application, and kind of diversification. So this is where we're moving from kind of I understand the problem to I know what to do on Monday morning, and I'm going to walk through a 90-day plan that any D2C brand can execute, starting with the work that kind of moves that needle fastest. Cool. So this is the basic checklist. So the first month is really going to be about making your existing product pages visible to the AI engines. So and anything I say here, I'm talking about D2C pages, but also applies to any kind of B2B process as well, typically, because the way these LLMs are referring content is the same. But yeah, I'm going to focus on DC for now, and you can infer from there. But the first is about making your existing product pages visible to AI engines. So there's no new content required, really. It's just structural improvements to what you already have. So schema stacking is the highest impact action. So this is where on those product pages you want to have the product schema, the offer schema, the review schema, the FAQ schema on every single one of those product pages, and then start thinking about your other pages as well. So if you've got a blog on there, making sure you've got your blog schema, your article schema, your organization schema should probably be on the site somewhere. You need your author schema rolled into that as well, FAQ schema for the FAQs that are on those pages, and that will help you achieve those 3.1 times higher citation rates that Gen Optima are quoting. So the 74% CTR lift from complete product schema alone is the kind of target that we're looking for. Make sure you're using JSON LD. This is the dominant structured data format on the web. So make sure you're structuring that. You can check it with the Google checker that I demoed previously, and I'm going to come back to that in a minute as well. Cool. So actually let's do that now. So this is our Amazon article that I was talking about. And when I've done this, you can kind of see what we've got here. So we've got on this is just a blog article and a news article. And on this, we've got the article schema, we've got the breadcrumb schema, we've got the FAQ schema, and you can kind of see in here, if you go into them, what is actually being referenced. And you can see, you make sure you go through, and this will tell you if you've got any errors. We haven't got any, so yeah, but it'll show up with like a warning if you've got anything you need to fix. And then it could be things like that. We had one the other day where the date format was incorrect, and it needed to be a full date timestamp, when you had date. So yeah, it'll tell you what you need to do, and yeah, it will. You can then go into these, and you can kind of see what's been picked up. And if you can see each one of these, like, this can easily be cited by an LLM. So what percentage of Amazon sales come from AI recommendations? Approximately 35%, etc. Like, it's a really nice snippet that the LLMs can just pick out and give to the customer on their LLM UI. So so make sure you are auditing those top 20 pages for the heading hierarchy. Make sure you've got those 120 to 180 word sections with clear subheadings. Add the FAQ blocks, and make sure you've got your genuine customer questions that are being asked, so you're matching up most likely with what's being asked. And then add the author schema and the expert bylines. That will essentially a schema stacking, so getting as much trust into your page as possible. Because the LLMs won't just see that as text of who's written it. They'll actually go into that author schema, read more about the person who wrote the article, and then use that information to give a assessment as to how trustworthy that article is. So there's quite a lot happening here in terms of how much trust is going into these articles. So and then quick win is obviously time to first byte. So if your pages take too long to render, the LLMs are not going to be able to cite you. So you need to make sure you've got fast page delivery. I usually start with a simple TTFB under 200 milliseconds, ideally under 90 milliseconds if you can get there. But yeah, you want it in a reasonable amount of time that enables the page to render. And then you want all of the text rendered on the page as fast as possible. The images and things that can kind of come after when it comes to LLM responses, because they're most interested in text from this perspective. So just making sure that they render within a decent amount of time, and you can get that kind of first contentful paint score, which is kind of the first or largest contentful paint score, which is the main kind of hero image or whatever it is. By the time that's loading, the rest of the text is typically loaded, as long as you haven't got any lazy loading or anything like that. So making sure that's fast as well. And you can use the Web Vitals scores, Google Web Vitals, to kind of assess that, which we've covered separately in other videos. Cool. So UK e-commerce sites average about 6 seconds to load. Sites loading in 1 second are converting at 3% versus 0.6% for 6 seconds. So there's actually there's a couple of reasons to do it, not just to be cited, but also to be for good conversion rates. Cool. So the next part is kind of where teams bring us in, and schema stacking and content architecture are straightforward once you see them, but knowing kind of which 500 product pages to prioritize and how to structure that data for your specific catalog, that's kind of where the hours are going to stack up. If you're watching this thinking, I get the theory, but how does this apply to us? Then this is what our geo audits are for. So you can request it through the link I'm about to put in the chat. But this is a full report on how your page is performing from a LLM standpoint. So we do an actual assessment of the page as if we were indexing it ourselves, to say how trustworthy is this content ourselves. And I've got a example here. So we did a geo audit for a brand called Burberry. And yeah, I picked them because they're one of the brands that hasn't yet gone down this route. So sorry to name drop you, Burberry, if you're watching, but yeah, this is essentially where you can see the kind of, you've got the extractability, you've got the trust and authority signals, you've got the semantic and technical signals, and sentiment and tone. This is what we're assessing. So have we got citable text? Do we have any duplicate tags or zero kind of answer nuggets? Do we have strong entity presence but no on-page trust signals? Do we have JS rendered content which is invisible to AI crawlers and no kind of open graph tags? And do we have things like clean tone but no factual contents? Is it like too marketing oriented copy and not enough trust and like fact inside the content? So so if we look through, you can kind of see in this report you'll get all your quick wins. So you got things like changing H1s to be a bit more kind of content rich, and this applies throughout. So so where we've got kind of basic product details, actually turning that into citable sentences. Now it doesn't just need to be full paragraph text. It's also having things like comparison tables and specification tables and things like that are really going to help the LLMs understand what's in the product and why to reference that product. But you can get an example here of kind of what good looks like. So we can add a bit more detail to those to those pieces of text that essentially the LLM can reference and use. And yeah, you've got your kind of your high, medium, low next steps. We've got things like, is the brand being cited on Wikipedia and Wikidata? So that's one of the big trust signals that's definitely worth considering if you're a larger brand. And yeah, and recommended actions for those. We've got things like the date modified, how important that is in there, and then the semantic pieces and technical. So this is where we're looking at kind of those schemas, making sure that they've got everything they need. We can see they're missing a few things in here. They've got some already, but they could do with a few more of those pieces being added. And yeah, what good looks like as well, so they can get an example of that. And then we go into tone, and this is where we're trying to avoid promotional and marketing language and put more kind of simple, short, factual sentences into those pages. So we can see, rather than having like step into warmer days with our latest arrival, we've got the blueberries specific collection introduces new trench coats and a variety of other things, including this specific coat and more date and time stamps. So you can, even if you haven't got a lot to cite, you can play with what you've got in terms of the content and the products and just add that into the mix, and it becomes a more citable piece of content. And then yeah, we've got a priority matrix, and yeah, if you need help kind of implementing, then we can kind of help you out with those as well. And yeah, going a bit deeper into those audits. This is obviously just for one page, and you'd have to think about the whole site. So we do comprehensive audits, and we build the websites out with this in mind. There are also layers. If you've got an existing website and you're thinking, oh, I don't have time for a rebuild, there are layers you can add on top to solve some of these issues. Cool. So moving on to the next piece. So you want to create that citable content. So articles, you want to have kind of that definitive guide for each product. You want to have kind of articles over 2,900 words to get that 59% more ChatGPT citations. So includes statistics and sources and expert quotes and comparison tables. Make sure you're updating it monthly. So content updated within 3 months is twice as likely to be cited, as we saw. And our AI recommendations article is the proof. Like it carries most of our AI referral traffic, I think, because it's a long, structured, sourced and piece of content that's updated every month. And like I say, the product comparison content is content that AI loves to cite. So where you've got, it doesn't have to be long pages like this obviously helps. But having those clear structured tables, so product A versus product B with specs, price, pros, cons, because you want to answer those questions that customers are going to be asking. And then use the FAQ schema wrapping to for those genuine questions. So which is better for, I don't know, outdoors in winter, well, whatever it is, your use case for your product. And AI engines are going to pull that comparison content for Gen Z, and they're doing 35% of their product searches through ChatGPT. So it's a huge piece for them in particular. So build third-party presence for ChatGPT specifically is a good place to start. So ChatGPT is pulling 48% of its citations from those third-party sites. We saw the review sites, so that's you want to get reviews on those platforms that AI trusts. I think like Trustpilot and G2 and industry-specific directories and listings and that sort of thing, and then pursue PR mentions on authoritative sites. So 85% of brand mentions that AI surfaces originate from those third-party pages. So and this is where most brands kind of stop at ChatGPT and miss the bigger opportunity here, which is all the other platforms as well. So if you're on Shopify, then you've got your agentic storefronts anyway. So products will surface in ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, Google AI mode automatically. And there's no transaction fees beyond standard processing fees on that platform. OpenAI's did have theirs for a while with their 4% on ChatGPT sales, but they've made it like a plugin now, so it's not directly in there. It is still there if you can find it. And Google AI mode charges 0% transaction fee, so it's all on your site anyway. So the purchase is completing still on your own store, not inside ChatGPT for now, or these other platforms. But even if you're on Shopify, like you're going to need to optimize for your site for the LLMs in order to be cited. So having things like your LLM text and such to make sure that you're being cited and getting that traffic through to your page. But your products can be surfaced. So you've got the Google Merchant Center and AI mode. So the virtual try-on moves into product search results from 30th of April. You've got Gemini's referral traffic that's growing 388% year on year. Gemini is pulling 52% of citations from websites, as we mentioned. So your site is the primary source of data there, not the third parties. And then you got Perplexity and Claude. So Perplexity, the sessions on our website doubled for us last week. So it's 100% week-on-week growth. AI citing that AI product recommendations article in particular, and Claude appeared as a new referral source for us. So that's where we're getting traffic now from Claude to our website. And 50% of AI citations come from content that's less than 11 months old. So freshness is the lever for these platforms. So keep your content current and monitor and measure. So 70% of AI traffic arrives without referrer headers and gets misclassified as direct traffic. So make sure you've got that kind of set up in GA to identify all that kind of dark AI traffic that's coming through, and track your impressions in Google Search Console for the kind of AI adjacent query patterns. And like our Amazon recommendations cluster, like there are, I don't know, 400 different variations of that query sitting in Google Search Console. So the real trick is to set up an automated report here. So what we've done personally, we use Claude for this. We go in and we check Google Analytics via API, Google Search Console, HubSpot, our CRM, and our website, and we get a daily assessment of what's working and what's not. And then we look back over the last week and quarter to do a bit of a comparison. And that gives us a view of kind of where we're at and our trajectory for our site and our content and how well we're optimizing. And we're seeing really good results by doing it this way, because we can see immediately kind of what the top challenges are in an automated way. And like even the other day, we had we had one of our articles was updated, but it wasn't updating the updated at date, and so it ended up with kind of tanking in the search results. The AI picked that up immediately and told us that there was an issue, and then we were able to resolve it within like 24 hours and get that re-indexed. So yeah, it's responding to the issues faster and using the AI tools to support you in that process is definitely an important piece. And that's not really what the topic for this conversation, but if you need any help with that, then obviously reach out to us and we can have a chat about how we can set up an automated report like that as well. But yeah, so the virtuous cycle. So cite, convert, compound, reinvest. So you want to get cited. So AI is recommending your products and you're getting that traffic at zero cost per click. Convert those visitors. So AI referred traffic converts 5 times higher than Google organic traffic. And yeah, your revenue obviously grows with that. You can compound your authority by getting more citations, more reviews, more third-party mentions, and the AI is going to trust you more. And then reinvest. So things like your direct customer data, better personalization, higher lifetime value for your customers. Like once you get the customers on site, we kind of covered this last quarter, but that traffic is now so much more valuable and so much more ready to buy that the traditional discovery routes that most websites are based on are kind of a bit wrong now. The users are coming through to your site from those sources and they're in a position to just verify and buy. So they're looking to verify what they've read in the LLMs and then check out. So they're not on that discovery journey trying to figure out which product is the right product. They already know and they probably arrive directly to that page. So if your site's well structured and indexed. So it's then surfacing things like getting the brand recognition in there in terms of like why to buy from you, your returns, how easy it is to return things, your shipping costs, your just making sure like everything there in terms of product, their availability, like that's kept up to date with the LLM and your reviews and ratings and that sort of thing, and make sure that stuff is front and center, whereas that used to be kind of more of a secondary further down the page. So that's probably now where we want to start rethinking some of those pages and getting some of that information a bit higher up the page, because this traffic is so much more valuable, and it's worth looking at it. Cool. So and this is basically the flywheel that every agency is kind of talking about. The difference is that we're actually spinning ours and it's working. We've got 5 platforms, live data, it's updated weekly, and that's the bar for everyone needs to meet in order to get this organic, should we say, traffic working, organic LLM traffic engine working. Cool. So so what is the single most important thing I should do this week to get my products recommended by ChatGPT? Schema first, content second. If someone asks where to start, the answer is always schema. It's the fastest to implement and it has the most measurable impact. You can stack those kind of product offer review FAQ schemas probably in a week. You can't write a 2,900 word definitive guide in a week very easily, but yeah, you can start with the structural foundation and then build the content on top. Most of that content you'll need for the schemas already exists, so it's just a case of getting it into those structures, which is a basic JSON structure. So as long as you can query your database and pull the information out from your existing product catalog, you can build one of those schemas. So how do I know if AI is already sending me traffic, but am I missing it in analytics? Most brands are already getting AI traffic and don't know it. So 70.6% of AI traffic arrives without referrer headers and it gets misclassified as direct. So set up the traffic tracking first, and then you'll know how much of a head start you already have. And when you have proper tracking, when you've set up the proper tracking, like we've already discovered that 14% of our AI is 14% of our traffic. So add those regex filters for GA in GA, and yeah, watch your direct bucket for the real story. And yeah, if your SEO organics dropping off, you can kind of see what's happening. Should I pay for Shopify agentic storefronts, or can I get cited without them? You can absolutely get cited without Shopify agentic storefronts. You can use your schema stacking, content architecture, content freshness, the EAT signals. That works on any platform. That's about getting citations. That's separate. Agentic storefronts is it's a kind of a free accelerator if you're already on Shopify. It surfaces your products inside ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, and Google AI mode with no engineering. And the 4% fee I mentioned, that's only applies to ChatGPT completed transactions. So with that on ChatGPT, so don't re-platform to Shopify just for this. Like if you're already on there, then you can use this, but it's not worth a major shift if that's what you're thinking. So how long before I see results from implementing schema markup? So schema is visible to AI crawlers as soon as they next recall your site, which is usually within days, and especially if you've got a sitemap that's being kept up to date. You can request indexing as well. So if you go into Search Console, you can put the URL in and request indexing, but there's a limit of about, I think it's 10 to 20 or something a day. Your first citation changes typically within like 2 to 4 weeks, and you'll get a measurable traffic impact in GA4 showing up within about 30 days, 60 days for most DC brands. I mean, we went from 0 to cited by 5 AI platforms in, if we're being conservative, maybe 6 months, but it was probably even less than that. But like we had the article around for a while. But yeah, the first AI referral sessions appeared in the first month of our rebuild, which I think was November last year, maybe September. So it's fast compared to traditional SEO anyway, considering the amount of indexing we've had, and the size of our organization. So what's the biggest mistake you see brands make with AI optimization? So putting all their effort into ChatGPT and ignoring the other 4 platforms. For us, ChatGPT has like plateaued. If you had to bet everything, if you bet everything on ChatGPT, or if we had, like, we'd be panicking right now. But instead, because we've diversified, we can see growth anyway. So only 11% of cited domains are appearing across multiple platforms for identical queries, and 89% of brands are leaving visibility on the table by focusing on one platform. So diversify from day one. It doesn't take much. It's like just making sure you're on site from an on-site perspective. Like you've got your LLMs text set up with all of the, and your robots text set up with all of the agents listed, the bots essentially. They're going to be scanning the site. I went through the last video. Yeah, and then off-site, then obviously it's making sure you're on those platforms that each one of those is referencing. So back to kind of the board level framing. So I mentioned at the start, the CEO is asking the question, like, if someone asks how to present this to leadership, I'd say that AI search is a zero cost per click channel that's converting at 5 times the rate of Google organic. Our competitors are already being recommended. We know that. Every month we delay is a market share that we concede in the fastest growing discovery channel in retail. And the geo market is projected to reach 26.6 billion by 2034 at a 50.5% growth rate, like compound annual growth rate. That is, this isn't experimental. This is infrastructure for the foreseeable future. So there's a lot of investment going into this from all these platforms, and we just have to get on board, really. And if we want to be cited, and we want, you go where the customers are, and this is where they are. So yeah, it's I think the 5 times rate is a big thing, and the fact that you can see that your competitors are being cited. If you can see that within the LLMs, that's your argument. Like, we need to get on those platforms. Like, we need to be doing more in this area. It's always a good good strategy to kind of keep an eye on what your competitors do. I wouldn't say compare yourselves to competitors, but keep an eye on what your competitors are doing, so you can make sure that if they've seen a gap in the market, that essentially you're looking to see, is that something that you should be doing as well. And this is kind of something, it's like SEO, it's something that everybody should be doing. Like, so yes, to recap, so 900 million people are using ChatGPT every week. AI converts at 5 times the rate of Google organic, and 86% of all AI citations are coming from sources you control. So your website, your listings that you get listed on. The answer is structural. So stack your schema. So the product offer review, FAQ, schema on every product page for those 3.1 times higher citation rates. Architect your content for AI readability. So make sure you've got those 120 to 180 word nugget sections with clear headings and genuine FAQ blocks based on real questions. And diversify across the platforms. So make sure you're looking not only at ChatGPT, but also Gemini, Perplexity, Claude, and Copilot, specifically with the growth in those other platforms. Claude and Gemini are climbing massively. And yeah, pick your sources differently. Make sure you're being ranked on those. And yeah, so this is not about really choosing an algorithm. It's about building the kind of product presence that machines trust enough to recommend. And it's programmatic to a certain extent. Like, it's LLMs that are doing the indexing, but they're based on a series of trust factors. So just making sure you're one of the brands that is doing this now, like, you're going to be the ones that's recommended in 6 months' time. The brands that wait will be wondering why their competitors keep outperforming them. And it's basically because they're turning up in those LLM articles, and it is difficult to kind of marry up between the two. Obviously, all this discovery is now happening offsite, but yeah, it's a necessary step to take. And you can see, obviously, the amount of traffic that's coming through, and that's your argument for how much to invest. You can make the initial investment and see the impact, and then continue from there. So if you want help applying this to your business, then the first step is to request our GEO website audits. You can get, just through filling out this simple form, you can get one of these reports for one of your pages. You can put your landing page, your product pages in there, and we will run a free report for you and send that across to you. This will identify where your biggest opportunities are and give you a prioritized plan on what to consider first. Like I say, we did this on our pages, and we're seeing a measurable impact now already. So yeah, happy to share this with anyone else who wants to have a go, and yeah, get your pages optimized for LLMs. So I'll drop that link into the chat now. And yeah, if you want even more advice on how to propel your AI visibility forward, then grab our AI commerce briefing. It's 1 email per week. It's all the AI commerce shifts UK D2C brands need to act on, with all the stats in there to back it up. I'll drop that in there again for anyone who missed it. And yeah, if you need help with optimization, just reach out to the team at Fernie. Like, this is what we do. This is building great websites, improving revenue, and optimizing for customer lifetime value. That's our bread and butter in terms of marketing, engineering for marketing. So yeah, thanks for watching, and best of luck with your AI visibility in the future.